because I actually am listening to a podcast in my ears while I'm working on this with you guys. Let's see. So we're back with Moose. We have the eyes and ears done. Now we're gonna start with the fur around his muzzle, and then we'll work on his muzzle and nose and work our way out. But for now, we're gonna work on the fur around his muzzle. So I did want to actually try a test because I'm really liking the Bistra or the Bister a lot with his fur. So I'd almost like to try this. That's not gonna work for that. I would like to see if we can find like a nice chocolate color that'll bring the orange out without it looking too rusty and just gross. And that's why I keep sort of trying different things because I haven't found one I really like yet. This is nougat. Just doing this lightly so I don't leave marks on the paper. Nougat with terracotta. No, I still don't like that. This is burnt sienna. We already know what that does with it. What about the burnt umber? The burnt umber has a nice chocolatey color to it. This might actually work. But again, it still looks really ready. Wonder if we try this with something else entirely, like an orange, like a cadmium orange. So I'm gonna use that. I don't like the orange colors underneath so far. I don't find it look as good. This is the burnt sienna, which we used with the ears. I really don't. That's way too much. I wonder if we try it with the Van Dyke Brown, which for some reason I cannot seem to find today. I had it out here. There's a Van Dyke Brown. Okay, let's try this guy. It's almost like an ashy brown, which I like, but may not work. I love Van Dyke Brown, but I don't think it's gonna work. It might work on its own. But I don't think it's going to work. So this is just burnt sienna on its own. And then I'd like to try ivory. This might actually... So the burnt sienna and the ivory might be great for the base orangier colors that are brighter on the hair. And then walnut brown. Walnut brown might be perfect for the darker areas. And again, there is some Caput Mortem violet areas. And I use this technically where there's like a almost like a blue tinge. I would like to try this with cream. I mean with ivory. No, I don't like that. Well, that might work in some areas, but I still think there's going to have to be another color with it. So if we do the Caput Mortem violet, and then the walnut brown, Okay, so we're gonna start with the burnt sienna to start in the lighter areas. I'm just gonna put those three together. And what I'm going to do, just sort of figuring out so when we go up close, we're just sort of looking to see the direction of the hair growth, which seems to come out in a pretty typical way. So I'm just going to go very lightly at first. And again, I am doing the little circular motions to get it in the green of the paper or the tooth of the paper, but I am going in the direction of the hair or fur. I don't know why I always say hair. Okay. Just want to check these eyebrows. Okay, so now I'm just doing short back and forth movements in the direction that the fur goes. And if we go slightly into where the walnut brown is going to go. It's not a big deal because it's all going to blend in together in the end. I'm doing short little movements like this because the hair itself is short. If you do longer movements, then you're going to give the impression that Moose has long hair, which he does not. Okay, so I have my computer going about 15 feet from here. And I am listening to another channel while I am recording this on my phone. And then I have the picture on my tablet. So I have 3 devices kind of going at once here. So again, if I'm yelling, I apologize. I'm using the burnt sienna, very lightly. If you feel like you have too heavy of a hand for laying it down too thick, move your hand further up the pencil. It'll give looser strokes, but it forces you to lay it down lighter. And then once you get more comfortable with it, you can bring your hands down a little bit more if you want, or your fingers more down the pencil. So I'm just keeping an eye on Mr. Moose's fur line, this is a screenshot from a video, I believe. Actually, no, I think it is a photo, but it's not overly crisp with the details. We'll say is fur direction, so not in every area. So to a degree, I have to go with what I know of how the hair or the fur generally goes in a direction for a dog when it's short like this, which is usually almost like an arc or an arch, not an arc. It's not a boat. Okay. So I haven't done down the front of his nose yet because it is quite dark. I might actually bring the Van Dyke brown in there because it's a little bit ashier and it gives me an excuse to use it, which I always love. But right now we're still at the burnt sienna. Just sort of laying it down lightly at the moment. So again, your hope is to keep in the area of which you're working, but since we're going to blend it into the walnut brown mix for the muzzle area, I'm not as worried because I would like to go in a little bit just so that it all blends together. So I'm still doing the same pressure, but with each layer, then we can fill in that tooth, but not so fast that it stays looking grainy and make no room for any other colors to blend into it, because I would like to put cream in there as well. But what I'm thinking I'm going to do is get the burnt sienna in here. Let's get the burnt sienna in. And then start bringing in the other colors as well to the rest of the face. So that way, as we go, we can blend the two together, so it doesn't look so choppy. Not necessary, but still just following the fur line, or the fur direction. I don't know why I always say line. I'm just bringing it up close to this black brown shading we have there in the corner, or at the edge of the ear. So that way there's not a big gap. Okay. So this is the walnut brown. And I'm just following again, still the fur line in small tiny strokes of the pencil, lightly. So we fill in the tooth of the paper. We're doing it in the direction of the fur line. Or in the fur direction. Again, this is the walnut brown. So it looks vastly different, but it's actually vastly darker in certain areas. So we want to capture that. So we're just putting in all the colors that are going to be the base for Mr. Moose's cute, adorable face. Now it's a little bit lighter under there. So where it's lighter on the photo, I'm going to leave it out and put in the burnt sienna again. So it sort of goes like this, and then goes sort of like this. So we're not pressing too hard because we want to make sure, like I said before, that we can get the other colors that we want to mix into it without it getting too grainy first. So we're just lightly adding them as we go. Patience is a virtue. But really, in the grand scheme of things, if you have like a audio book or anything like that, it's a perfect time, or a podcast like I am right now. You can sit there and listen to it and just sort of zone out. Sometimes I'll watch documentaries. So I'm just blocking in these little darker areas with the walnut brown. We're not done yet by any means with the burnt sienna. We're just sort of laying the base colors for each area. I know some people like to do like one section at a time, like one even little corner, and that's cool. It's not how I do it. So again, for those of you wondering, I mentioned this in the first video, but I should again. This is mousse from Mel and Symbol Mousse, so Mel and Mousse. And you can find on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, maybe on YouTube, I'm not sure. And he is always caught, even though he's got a little dental chew in his mouth or a little treat, he'll come inside a lot of times and hide a little pebble or a wood chip in his mouth, and she always videotapes his little guilty face that he makes when he's caught doing it. And it's adorable. He is absolutely cute. So I've been wanting to draw him for a while. So this area does get significantly darker here. So we might have to bring in a little bit of black there, which is fine. But we're just sort of marking that this will be where that area goes. Since I went a little too far at the burnt sienna, which is fine. Oops. So I'm just looking at the reference photo and seeing where the brown, the darker color brown goes. I can hear notifications going off on my computer in my headset. I have no idea what it is, but it's making some weird noises because I'm not used to it. I don't use my computer that often. That or it's the guy in the background, the guy being interviewed because I heard his dog earlier, so. Okay. So then we're going to come in again here. Again, we're going to try to avoid the little lighter areas and bring in the burnt sienna in those areas as well. Now, if you have a hard time drawing on a slant like that, you can always move the paper around too. So let's see. Remember, short, tiny marks, so that way it denotes the fact that Moose has short hair instead of making it look like he has longer hair than he does. Plus it gives the little, well, it's almost like doing the little hairs in a sense. It looks like hair. So I'm going around in an arch slowly. Make sure that I'm getting it properly. Like that I'm going in the right direction. Okay, and then it is above his little eyes here a little bit, but there is an area where the burnt sienna comes in right around the eyes, or this eye. Then it gets a little bit lighter right about here. So we'll leave that alone. You see I'm actually going in a curve when I come around these areas because it actually shows that it's coming down off the nose and then onto his cheek, and it'll make the face stand out because it'll actually look like it's coming up off the nose in the right direction and blending into the rest of the hair on his face. So I'm just building up the depth of the walnut brown by each layer I do. I'm not pressing too hard because I don't want to leave it grainy where you can see the paper underneath. I want it to be nice and blended. Okay. So we're going to leave that for now. And I'm going to put some Caput Mortem Violet in the center here. Again, really small pencil strokes. I'm actually going to take 1 second to change the video that I'm listening to since it's over. Just give me 1 moment. Okay. Sorry about that. I just wanted to pick something else out to listen to while I'm working with you guys. So again, I'm using the Caput Mortem Violet. Little tiny pencil strokes to denote the shorter hair on mousse. And this the Kaput Mortem Violet. Oh, the cat's up. It's just going to show kind of that purpley hue that's underneath his fur. So we'll put the Van Dyke Brown over top of it. There's also a little bit right here. I'm just going to add that in there as well. A little bit of the Kaput Mortem Violet into the cheeks. Okay. Then we're going to come back in with the Burnt Sienna. We're going to get these little areas around Moose's eyes that are a little bit lighter. Again, don't rely on your line art because you're going to go off of it. No matter how accurate you think you are, it's just not going to happen that way. So just lightly putting in Burnt Sienna, and there's some right here as well. Going again in the direction of the fur. So I'm just moving the lead around so that way I'm finding the sharpest part of the lead on the pencil. So that way we're starting to fill in the tooth of the paper now. And we're just going in a little bit over the walnut brown as we go, just a little bit and lightly as I do it because it'll blend the two together. Now we are going to blend it more when we bring the ivory in. I apologize for the kitty making noises. I can't always hear it because of my headphones being on. So I'm not pressing any harder. I'm literally just moving the pencil around to find the sharpest spot. So you'll see me doing this on the paper. Slowly and patiently making our way through. Again, I'm using the Burnt Sienna and just going back over. Oh. Hello. What are you doing there, kitty? He's getting nosy, which means he might try to bump the phone. Back up. You can come in and cuddle, but get back up. Lay down. He likes to lay down on my arm as I draw. When he first wakes up, he gets in his cuddle mode. You good boy? Mm-hmm. You can get up. I don't know what you're doing to your toots. Okay. Still working with the burnt sienna. As my cat creates a mess like he normally does. Oh, I see ya. Now he's sitting on my back again. And now we're gonna get the Van Dyke Brown. That's the walnut. Where did the Van Dyke Brown go? We're gonna go, oh, what's her number? There it is. We're gonna come down the front of the nose. And I'm stopping here because there is a distinction in really light hair or fur that starts there, so I am stopping at that area. So again, Van Dyke Brown, really short pencil strokes. Yeah, the Van Dyke Brown is just not doing it for me this time. So, no, getting a low battery warning on my tablet. I'm going to come in with the walnut brown very lightly. And then I'm going to take the cream, not the cream, sorry, the ivory, terrible for calling it cream because that's what it looks like to me personally, but that's not what it actually is. And I'm just very lightly going over top of the burnt sienna just to smooth it and give it sort of, not take away from the orange, but to just, I don't know, soften it a little bit so it looks more natural. Just going lightly over, and it's also helping blend the color into the tooth of the paper. So win-win, win-win. Just going in here in these areas. So it may not seem like a significant difference, but these little nuances make all the difference in making your picture look more realistic. There's a lot of ads playing for this. For the stream I'm listening to. Okay. Just want to see how the ivory looks with the walnut brown, because I don't want to take away from the richness of it, but I do like the way it's smoothing it and blending the colors. I'll probably have to go over this again, which is fine. So I'm just taking the ivory and going over the walnut brown and the little hairs on the brow right here, or in between the brows. Okay, and we're going back in with the walnut brown. And then what I'm going to do lightly, start bringing my pencil of the walnut brown color just lightly over top of where I had the burnt sienna. So just sort of like this, just to blend it a little bit better. Making sure that the hair not going too fast, because you want to keep those short pencil strokes, so Moose's short hair is looking appropriate, not looking like long hair or long fur. Again, make sure that you're going in the direction of the fur. So keep checking the reference photo, because it will look like little pencil or little hairs. Okay. I'm gonna get my blender pencil, which I checked it was, it was Prima, no, I don't know, can't tell you. I have to tell you, Prismacolor? Wow. Prismacolor. Until my brain is on other things while I'm doing this. So I'm just using this in slow circular motion, still going in the direction that the fur goes in, but I'm just sort of blending the two colors together and making sure that the colors are getting to the edge. You don't have to use these, but I notice when I'm using cheaper paper like this, like, it's great mixed media paper, it is, but you are gonna have, when you're not using good quality paper, you are gonna have little things you're gonna have to contend with that you wouldn't have to do with something else. But this is always, I always like having these books on hand because they're nice quality in their own right. So I'm just going lightly over it to blend the two colors together, or the browns together, I should say. Going in the direction that the fur goes in. I'm still going in little circular motions a little bit, just to get it into the tooth of the paper. I'm not pressing overly hard, even though it looks like I am. It's just because I'm trying to hold on to it because it's shorter. You can use a pencil extender if you want. I have them. I just I don't know, just don't really feel the need for it at the moment. Just gonna finish this up. Making sure we get to the edge of the paper there, or the edge of the face where it goes into the ear. So these blenders, or burners, whatever you want to call them, pencils, will pick up a little bit of the color and move it. So I would suggest starting in the light area and moving towards the darker colors, because you will pick it up and you will move it around a little bit. Now, if you're using vellum paper, this isn't really necessary. It's usually pretty smooth by this point, just by the layers you're laying down, but yeah. So far, we've got Mr. Moose. And the paper, I am using the exact brand. This is Hoo-Hoo. Yeah, H-U-H-U. And it is 8 by 10, 62 pages, mixed media. And I think it's great. It is. It's really great. So just a little bit more steps. So far we've got around the face done. And then next we'll come in and do Mr. Moose's muzzle and nose area. And then we'll slowly work our way down the rest of his neck area and his upper chest that we're capturing, as well as his little treat that he has going on. So far, this is Mr. Moose. We'll be back.